Hello, Sun's Latest family. This is Sun's Latest, courtesy of Fan Arch. I am Rich Rubin, and we have good news. Not only does the preseason start tonight down the street, well, yeah, a couple hours down the street from me, Friday, today, Palm Desert against the Lakers. Metallicop, I think, wrote in, or somebody commented on said, "How the hell do I watch this?" I don't think this is a regular broadcast, but I do know that YouTube TV and Fubo, Fubo, you can sign up for their free 7-day trial, and they'll have it. And then just remember to cancel it in a week, and then you can probably watch most of the preseason. So let's get to it today. Quote of the day. This is from Loyal Sun's latest commenter, Curious Mind 2525. Quote: "Most people have the will to win. Few have the will to prepare to win." End quote. That is from Bobby Knight. However you want to remember Bobby Knight, yeah, he was a jerk, but God, what an effective coach. And the guys that played for him, the majority of them swear by him. They said Bobby Knight didn't tolerate BS. Bobby Knight made sure that you were a qualified, all-around good athlete, good student, and a good person. And that's kind of ironic considering how Bobby Knight was none of those things, but he was a great basketball coach. But I'm all about having the will to prepare to win. And I've quoted this before. Preparation is the essence of intelligence. That is a quote from actor-comedian Steve Martin, who is one of the most well-rounded people I've ever seen as far as an entertainer. What can't that guy do? And he always talked about right, practice, 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 practice. And that's why he's so effortless in what he does. And that's a really good lesson to learn when it comes to when it is time to show out. And Bobby Knight showed out. His team showed out. They always played really hard. So as I said, the preseason starts tonight. Suns, Lakers, going to get a glimpse. I don't think LeBron's playing. He has something going on with that area. That's what they're calling it. Also, brand new news regarding Ryan Dunn. As expected, the Suns exercised their third-year team option for second-year forward Ryan Dunn. So this secures his contract through next year. He's just around $3 million. It's the rookie scale option. When you got a guy like Ryan Dunn, you make sure that you lock him in through the end of his rookie contract. Because like Mark Williams, as I spoke about the other day, guys on the final year of their rookie contract, that's such a pivotal time in their career, and you're going to see where they're going to get, what kind of player they're going to be. It's still early with Ryan Dunn, but he looked really good in summer league, and he needs to up his shooting and his free throws and his three-point percentage. Everything is going to go up. I can guarantee it. It's not going to be astronomical, but it's going to be serviceable. He also improved his first step, which means getting to the basket, which is going to improve his field goal percentage, which will give him confidence when he has to take a mid-range or possibly a three. And I have a feeling Coach Ott is going to be on his case about you're not allowed to do those kinds of shots unless you're going to the basket 3 to 4 times a game. So there's going to be some balance with Ryan Dunn. No question about his defense. He is that good. All right, I said before the preseason is over, we're going to get to all of the Suns centers. We talked about Mark Williams, and like him, as I just mentioned, final year of his rookie contract. Everything is in place for Mark Williams to succeed. Now it's just a matter of will he be available. Nick Richards, on the other hand, knows he has to be ready and available. He is not injury prone. We got him last year, another Charlotte Hornets center. He knows that as of now, he is a throw-in on almost any possible trade package, depending on what we do. I'm pretty sure we're not going to trade or move anybody around except if it's, Exhibit 9s and G League and back and forth and free agents and waived guys. I don't think we're bringing in anyone new at least until January, possibly even after the All-Star break, the trade deadline. So he's steady. He's mostly a good rebounder and a defender. He doesn't offer much on the offensive end. When the Suns traded for Mark Williams and then drafted Kaman Malawash, Nick had a few thoughts going through his head. Now, with Williams locked in as the Suns starting center and Man showing up to camp 10 pounds heavier, all of it muscle and barking and talking and yelling out defensive schemes on the defensive end, Nick has to be considering his options. He also needs to know what kind of player he is. He is not typically a starting center. If you have 4 scorers, Nick would be a great starting center. But there's no offense with this guy. He's good. As I said, he's much more serviceable than good. But his teammates like him, coaches love him, works hard, gets good rebounds when he's on the court. He's just not a spectacular guy, but he's huge. He's our heaviest and biggest guy. But this has got to wear on him where he's falling in line with this. So does he accept his role? Does he continue to play hard in order to keep his place in the Suns, or does he know that he's gone any minute? And does he slack off? I don't think he slacks off. I don't think he has that in his nature. I don't think that's the kind of player that he is. I just think there are guys in the league that are second and third string players, and after a certain point, they need to either accept it or at least know that for this team that they're on, that is their role. And a lot of guys get into trouble when they don't accept it, at least for the team that they're on. And some guys, that's why, this guy came out of nowhere and he didn't do anything for 3 years. And it's like, well, that's not what the team needed him to do. But a guy can go from team to team and all of a sudden his game completely changes because of the concept of that team. And I can say he had a double-double in his first game as a Sun. He's capable of 10 points and 10 rebounds on any given night, and that could even be off the bench. And that is why you hang on to a guy like Nick Richards. I would like to see a 3-center rotation, and I would like us to hang on to Nick Richards just to be sure, because Malawak, as good as he looks, he's still a project, and Mark Williams has got to prove that he can be available and not get injured. So you keep a guy like Nick Richards on your team. Moving on to your comments. At Dagoon R, at one point we had Jason Kidd, Kevin Johnson, and Steve Nash on the same team. All at different points in their careers, but I think, Kidd was the main dude. They brought KJ back because Kidd had gotten injured, and Nash was, first or second year? So he wasn't Nash yet. I had one friend who lives in Oakland named Eric Farber. He saw Nash within 5 or 6 games, and he said, I love this guy. We need to keep this guy. This guy's going to be an all-star. And I was like, that guy? I was completely wrong about Nash. But my buddy was right, and we traded Nash. But now we can't be... I'm sorry. I preempted your comment. At one point, we had Kidd, KJ, and Nash on the same team. Now we can't be bothered to get a real point guard. Go Suns, I guess. Well, Steve Nash is back, and Steve Nash is going to work with Colin Gillespie and Goodwin and Butler. If anybody can help these guys, it's Steve Nash. I think he's really going to help Colin Gillespie because he's the closest to Nash in physicality, in stature, and the type of point guard that he is. And as I've said many times, Gillespie already has some Nash qualities to him, freezing the defense, hesitating, going in for a layup. Colin Gillespie can actually be a very solid point guard for us. At Hammerdon, PHX, I think Colin Gillespie is the only pass-first point guard on our roster. I haven't seen Jalen Green play very much, but going off of everything that I've read and heard about him, he's wildly talented and wildly inconsistent, prototypical instant offense 6-man. This is the second comment about Jalen Green being a 6-man. And it's another comment about Colin Gillespie being more of a Nash-type player. What's the main theme over this past summer? We're going to have to wait and see. At Mr. DeCasso, 9637, Steve Nash will turn Gillespie into a point god. All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I just said what I needed to say about Nash and Gillespie and the point guard situation. At Guzmana, 895, the more I hear that the NBA is dying and the game is boring, no physicality, just three-pointers, the more I believe the Suns have an opportunity to make a big shift in the NBA if they do play with grit and passion. We have that's what Coach Jordan Ott has said. He said this is going to be this kind of team. We have players that can get in the paint, shoot the mid-range and the three, not to mention we have a few sickos with that killer mentality. That's a real interesting take. I would like to see the Suns out-tough teams. I would like to see the Suns outrun teams. I would like to see the Suns be the best conditioned team in the league. It looked like Oklahoma had that distinction last year. And look what happened to them. I'm not comparing, but I remember the Blazer teams of the the Blazer teams of the 90s when you had Kersey and Duckworth and Porter and Drexler. They could just outrun teams. They were just superior athletes. So, yeah, I can get behind that. We have to out-tough and out-grit teams. We have to because we don't have much else. And we're also young and new, and these guys haven't played with each other much before, so we have to see where we're going to go. At Nevetsov, a very real scenario this year is that our best is not good enough, and we pivot around the youth. Book gets traded, and we get an insane bucket of picks. I mentioned that type of scenario on the last few Suns latest. We are stacked with youth already with Green, Dunn, Fleming, Williams, Gillespie, Brea, Oso, and Malowich. Also, try to remember, I know he's going into his 11th year. Devin Booker isn't even 30 yet. That's a young guy in the NBA. So as much as Booker can get us a haul, you know, these young guys and a guy like Booker, you know, there's a good yin and yang. There's a good balance going on here. Once again, we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for your comments. I really appreciate the fact that you guys consistently comment, and it's really nice to know that every time I open up a Sun's latest, and I don't watch them after I send them. I just go to the comments, and it's like, oh wow, oh crap, I forgot I said that. So you guys are a great barometer for me, and you're making the whole thing a whole lot better. So I appreciate that. Moving on to the Suns legend of the day, we are going down the top 15 as decided by us, and we are at number 9, and it is Chris Paul. And there was some controversy with Chris Paul being this high up and even in the top 10, but the point guard was with the Suns from 2020 to 2023, and there is an argument that the greatest impact in the shortest amount of time as a Phoenix Suns player was achieved by Chris Paul. Argue with me what you want. You know, Jason Kidd gets a little bit of the distinction, but didn't go as far in the playoffs. Connie Hawkins, which we just did the other day on Suns Latest, did really well. He had a phenomenal first year, and he kind of went down after that. I don't blame him. He had bad knees coming into the league. But Chris Paul, for the short time he was on the Suns, he changed everything. He changed our culture. You can't argue the fact that Devin Booker's greatest years as a Sun were with Chris Paul. He was really good with Ricky Rubio in the bubble, and then we got Chris Paul, and all of a sudden Devin Booker's first team All-NBA and becoming what everybody thought he should be. That's Chris Paul, and I have said it many times, as great as Booker is, as great as Booker's years were not too long ago, it was Chris Paul that made all that happen. Coach on the floor. We did not need Coach Monty Williams. He wasn't doing substitutions, and Chris Paul was basically telling everybody where to be and where to go and how to do it. Chris Paul, in a short amount of time, probably the biggest impact of any Sun player. All-Star each year he was with the Suns. All-NBA each year, either second or third team. I think it was 2 seconds and 1/3. Led the league in assists in 2022. Think about this. Chris Paul led the league in assists in 2008, and then he led the league in assists like, what, 4 more times, and then he does it again in 2022. That's like Tim Duncan winning a title, whenever, like his second year in the league, and then 13 years later he wins another title. I mean, that's incredible. That's how you can sustain that level of play. With Book, formed the best backcourt in the league. Once those two figured out that, oh my God, we can get open anytime we want, they were lethal. I honestly think, yes, we had Mikal Bridges. We had some great players on our team. But you could have replaced almost any front court with Book and Chris Paul, pegging guys, for an entire couple of seasons. And it wouldn't have mattered. They were that lethal. They absolutely destroyed guys, and they just ran over other teams. His first finals appearance came with the Suns. Sharing the backcourt with Book, the Suns tore through the playoffs, sweeping the Nuggets. After 8 games off in the COVID protocol, Chris Paul came back, and the Suns beat the Clippers to get to the finals for the first time since '93. The back and forth between Chris Paul breaking down a defense and nailing the mid-range or drawing in the defense to get Book a wide-open shot was unstoppable. And it doesn't get spoken about enough to this day. I think I'm the only one that I loved watching it. It reminded me of Stockton and Malone pick and roll. The best years of Devin Booker's career. I've already said that the best DeAndre Ayton ever played and ever will. And I stand by that, and that's a hill I'm dying. That's a mountain I'm going to die on. Was when Chris Paul was on the floor with him. Monty could not get through to DeAndre Ayton. Nobody could get through to DeAndre Ayton. Chris Paul insisted on getting through to DeAndre Ayton and just told him where to be. That's it. Told him where to be. And DeAndre Ayton, oh, this guy's going to be great. And it's like, yeah, what has he done since then? We let him go. The Blazers, let him go. He's going to piss off J.J. Redick and LeBron and Luka before the All-Star break. Mark my words. There's another argument that along with Jason Kidd, Chris Paul is the most versatile and well-rounded point guard in NBA history. 9 all-defensive teams, 7 of them were first-team selections. That's astounding. 7 first-team all-defense selections. 5 times the assist leader, 6 times the steals leader. 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, All-Star Game MVP, second in MVP voting in 2008. What hasn't Chris Paul done? He won a title, but he hasn't won a title, but like Nash and Chuck and a lot of other great NBA players, nothing to apologize for. They changed the culture of the Suns and reminded us that one guy can inspire a whole team. Chris Paul changed the culture of the Suns. We broke out in the bubble. Chris Paul took us to the finals, along with Devin Booker. Got us over the edge. I wanted Chris Paul back this year. I wanted him to retire with the Suns, and I hate that we ever traded him, especially how that trade went down. But Chris Paul without question. Number 9 is the greatest son of all time, and he is your legend of the day. Appreciate you watching. This has been Suns Latest. I'm Rich Rubin. We'll do it again tomorrow.